my 1 month review on the ENDER 3. I finally found like a little place for it. Yeah, it's next to Brawls and all that, but it's next to my desk. So I can monitor it when I'm awake and just let it go when it's nighttime. I'm going to go over the pros and cons that I've found so far. There's a lot of both. I didn't make a list, so I'm not going to remember half of them. But this is right on 30 days. I've done some funky stuff just to see if that would look cool or not. But then you got like all the screws. That kind of sucks. But then I made a mount that shoots the camera down. A lot of people like somehow get their camera like right in like that. It really gets the camera hot. This bed, I run my bed at 50. And it gets a little bit hot, makes the camera hot. I use a GoPro, that way it's tiny and I don't have to see it. I had one that was right here, but it was always in the way when I was trying to get in there, so I made this little mount. Actually, I found it off of Tinkercad. It's not one of the sites, and then my little GoPro goes right in there. Has different settings. Pretty cool. That's an upgrade I did. Well, not really an upgrade, just an accessory. I ended up putting a cover over this. This is a downfall of the ENDER 3 for sure. I use Cura, and you can see the straight line it makes right there. Cura goes down the side, primes it, and on the way back it should be fully primed with the new color normally about here on its way back. Well, when it first goes down, it does stab the board, which kind of sucks. But there'll be like loose, hairy stuff, even if you get your retraction test right. Well, then when it pulls it over here, it pulls a string sometimes, and that string will get sucked right up in the front fan. So I was like, I'm gonna make one. So I took this was originally like a box head or something, and I ended up using Tinkercad and cutting the front of it off and putting it solid on the bottom and open on the side. I have no problem with that. I did have a different design. I think I've already filed that. Got like a little drawer. Here's the other design. That clipped onto the front. That was not enough air. It was worth a shot. Didn't take long to print. And that clipped right on there, and then I was going to put a different design on there. I ended up getting, this is the first one, it failed. That goes on the side to just silence it a little bit. I made it black instead of yellow. I ended up putting that on there just because I got tired of the QR code that's there, and that just pops right off. Just so I can annoy all the people that are watching my video to like and subscribe. Maybe it'll work for some people. I ended up putting a cover on that. A little cover on that. There's also a cover you can get to put over that, but the amount of work you have to do, you gotta take the steeper motor off, and it's just too much work for me. I ended up making a little bracket. I didn't put the end caps on. That doesn't really bother me. I'd rather be able to slide stuff in and out. And there's a little slide for that. A lot of people put a holder to hold this straight. I don't understand why you need it to be straight. It needs to be straight, but it's not going anywhere unless you live where there's earthquakes. I'm always worried about this falling off, but it hasn't yet. Well, until just now. I had to move this whole thing out just a little bit ago. I have this on a smart surge protector, and when it does the countdown for how long it's going to be, if I know it's at 9 hours, I'll tell it to shut all this off in 9.5 hours if I'm asleep. And I'll shut this off, it'll shut this off, and then if the power loss on my GoPro happens, it saves the file and shuts down. So it's kind of cool, because then I don't have to edit out the video that's really too long. And yeah, that's been great. Made a little drawer for here, but when you make this, I had to go with this. I got really sick of it. See that roller right there? That roller comes through and almost nicks this. So you gotta make sure you have the right box in here. Ended up putting slide drawers in the side. And I think that's almost all my upgrades. I put a fan cover right here also, because when this thing messes up, if you're asleep or something, it'll get a big old wad. If you watch on my YouTube, there's a few mess ups, a few fails. That comes off and can go right down into that fan, which only lasted 4 days. The original fan on here lasted 4 days. It's a 24 volt fan, not a 12 volt, which is what normally a computer is. So there's enough room in there. I put a transformer to transform it down from 24 volt down to 12 volt, and then it has a billion feet of wire because I wanted it all quick connect so I could just put another fan on when it goes bad. And then I have a really expensive fan. It's like 15 bucks just for a 40 millimeter fan in there. Super quiet, works. I don't even think you need it. I felt the board. I felt this when it wasn't working, and it never got hot, so that wasn't too bad. I still use the SD card. That doesn't really bother me. Wi-Fi would be nice, but actually Bluetooth would be even better if it would work right. There's stuff hanging everywhere. It's really hard to keep clean. You could put a box over it. I also do not use the covers. My cover's down here somewhere. I have no problem printing. I do not use this. The only downside of not using this is when it messes up, instead of the plastic sticking to this, it sticks right to the hot end. And then my hot ends, I don't know if I got, no, I just used that one once. Yeah, they don't look too pretty. Like, it's hard to clean them. See, it gets on the threads, and it doesn't get on the threads, but when you it's not really focusing very well. But I end up throwing all my tips in the oven, melting out the plastic and continuing to use them. I haven't really gone through any tips. I haven't had any plugging. I did have plugging when I put that other thing on there. It would just start popping because this was still feeding it, and since the tip plugged, it would just go pop, 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 and then you knew something was going on. So I ended up taking that off and putting it back on. An issue, I don't really care for this, but it always oozes out. Even if it's not giving anymore, like it's just sitting here hot, it just leaks. So you gotta clean it up every now and then. You gotta yank on it and pull it all off. I use a little shop vacuum and clean out this stuff, or just print a solid rail there so nothing gets down in there. Another upgrade I did was the steeper motor silencer. I don't know why people have to put little heat sinks on the back of this and then a little dampener on the other side. To me, that's retarded. That costs like 18 bucks. Pay another $18 and do the upgrade. Okay, somebody was calling me, so I don't know where I left off. I know it was the steeper motors. The steeper motors are kind of loud. They're more or less annoying. If you make like a little Pikachu, it starts making it sounds like a song. How this moves back and forth because it moves this little belt in here. That's really interesting. It sounds like a song, but it annoys your head. So I ended up buying the board, which does take a lot of work because it's a tight fit. If it wasn't a tight fit, it wouldn't take much work at all. But you got it. There's a ton of screws on the side, quick connects. You got to plug everything back in right. But I got the 4.2.7 board, which is a silence board, and you can't even hear this thing run. Which the bad side of it is, if you like to know when it's done printing, you can't hear when it's done printing. It's that stinking quiet, and that makes the steeper motors quiet. And when I feel the back of them when it's printing, they're not even warm. It's worth the extra 18 bucks. I know some people just like their cars, just let the car be simple, but no, they got to make it look all fancy. They put the little covers on there and all that. To me, that was the best thing I ever upgraded. I thought at one time I broke them springs. I learned a few things. When you change your tip, for some reason, when you change your tip from 0.8 to 0.4, the distance is different, so you got to recalibrate it. Also, when you're printing, I like when it prints this line, I rip it off to see how sticky it was to the bed. When I rip that off, if it's too sticky on there, I actually push down on the board and push that spring down, and it messes with this. So that's a tip and trick. Do not touch the board once it's printing. I know you want to. I know you want to pull off something that printed here while these were all still going, but just let it go. And also the humidity in different environments. I drive clear to Pennsylvania, and I live in the New York area. So in New York, I have to put glue on here. This is I'll get to the magnetic bed. I had to put glue on here for the stuff to stick. And then I use 409 and wet it, and then I let it sit for a minute and then scrape it off. But I don't scrape it off all the way because I want that coating on there. Then you heat it up to about 70 degrees and it'll remelt it back in. It's really complicated, but when I'm in Pennsylvania, I can print straight to this. Straight to this. I don't even need the glue. It's really weird. I'm really thinking it has to do with humidity. And I've tried to get my humidity the same, and it still doesn't stick. Don't understand, but that's how it likes it. Also, upgraded to the magnetic board. Very nice. I haven't done much ABS plastic, so I haven't really bowed my bottom plate. And if I did, I would probably buy a new one because the magnetic plate is great. Some people buy the glass because the glass isn't, it doesn't bow. But you can take it off right away. Sometimes I burn my fingers taking this off. You can bend it and pop the stuff right off. Only bad thing about it is when you get a replacement, here's the replacement. You had to, this fits with this out here like this. If it goes on sideways, it doesn't even stick. See that? If I put it on like this, look, now it moves the bed. But when you buy the replacement, here's the replacement that came in. You end up putting this mat down, and then the bed's underneath it. When you put this on here, it doesn't want to stick because somehow it's turned. And that would make this on that side. See, now it wants to pull the bed. It's really weird. Don't know why that is. It's kind of messed up, but it doesn't bug me too much. Also, I ended up putting a little cover right here to protect it just a little bit more. Now, for a problem I have, it's been a month, the wheels kind of shed, and I always put my finger here when it's going back and forth, and it cleans the wheels right up, no problem. But underneath, here's what they look like when you don't clean them. I kind of forgot it even had wheels underneath, but there's the wheels underneath. They are shot, and I don't even want to show you what it does because I accidentally did it the other day, but look at the back one, it's really gone. I bought new wheels, but when this thing's flying, moving back and forth really quick, the back wheels are shot, and this thing will actually lean like this, and if it's moving too quick, it'll go pop, and it'll pop it down. It'll totally mess up the level of the bed. It's just starting to do that, and I found out I'm not going to do it for the video because I really don't want to have to recalibrate it again. But if I push right here, it'll drop that far. I don't, oh, not that far, but maybe like that far. Too far, it goes pop. And it's because these wheels are burnt out, and my power just went out in there. Alright, so we got power back. 90-some degrees outside. They're making my power shut off, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to replace the wheels. I did get upgraded wheels. They say they're upgraded wheels. To me, they feel the exact same texture. I don't really see the difference in them, other than they're clear. They aren't too much money, so I'll replace them. Also, I have the direct drive coming in the mail, so I can direct drive it. Mainly because I want this moved over, and when you direct drive it can go straight down into it. And also I can do different types of plastic because when it goes through here, even if you have the blue one, I guess, it backs up and shoots out of that little gap that's in there because it's so flexible, it flexes out of there. So I do have the direct drive coming in. I'll probably make a video on how to hook that up or a review on how I like it. But other than that, oh, also, the wheels have worn out because this thing has been non-stop printing for the whole month. I think I'm a little over a month, but it has not stopped printing that whole month. Very proud of it. It's made so much stuff. I've went through so many different, I was almost going to call them schemes, like I'm using yarn. But yeah, it works great. It would be nice to have two colors, but I think that'd be twice the problems for me. Yeah, and there's my 1 month review.